Well, hello there. I am so glad we get to hang out in this little corner of the online world. I'm Hanna Hermanson, certified coach, international speaker, author, and founder of Dream Life is Real Life. I've helped hundreds of coaches build, scale, and enjoy their online businesses. Essentially, make their dream life their real life. So, welcome to the Dream Life is Real Life podcast. In these shows, you'll find the real people, concrete tactics, and weekly motivation and inspiration to make your dream life your real life. Look, I started this podcast to bring you the role models I never have. Here we are, we're back again, and today I have my friend Anna. Anna is a driven and compassionate coach that helps people defeat anxiety. That's right, defeat anxiety. I'll say it again for the people in the back. She works with people who want to be happy and they're motivated to find the missing piece in their struggle with anxiety. They're ready to break free from it and the pain that it causes. With over a decade of collecting and applying scientifically proven tools, she also draws on her own experience as a certified Kundalini teacher and a rising leader in the wellness world. After working with Anna, you will be in control of your life with a whole new world of possibility in front of you, and that is what we're all about. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. It is an absolute honor to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So I am excited to dive into the work that you do. I emphasize the anxiety piece because whether or not you are diagnosed or you have a label or you're in some sort of, therapy or treatment for anxiety, I think if you're an entrepreneur or a go-getter, there is some element of anxiety fueling you or living with you. So I know the stuff that you teach is really applicable to people who are, maybe paralyzed by their anxiety and other people who aren't even really aware of how much it's impacting their life or their business. So let's dive into how this whole journey started for you. Did you grow up in Minnesota, the Midwest like me and think, I'm going to be a coach when I grow up? Or how did this all unfold for you?
No, I was a teacher for many years, and that was my little girl dream, to be the teacher. And I did that. And looking back now, they always say hindsight is 20/20. And looking back, I was absolutely an anxious kid, kind of always on edge, little touch of OCD, all of the kind of warning signs that I would have a crash in my late teens, early 20s, which is, I think, for a lot of people when the hardest first hit comes with mental health. So that happened to me, and I had my first panic attack at about 19 and kind of started on a very long journey of over a decade struggling with and trying to overcome anxiety.
Yeah, there's so much that I can relate to in that, and I think why we make a good team and we have so much in common, and I know a lot of listeners do too, right? The whole teacher path, that means that you had some mission in you to make a bigger impact and do something bigger. And now in your coaching practice, you get to use some of those experiences, but on your own terms, right? Not wiping noses and whatever else teachers do these days, right?
For me, it was the politics, playing the political game, which is why I eventually decided I just couldn't go back to it. No one tells you you're also going to be a political player when you become a public school teacher. So. Yeah. I think one of my major kind of comings to understanding that I wanted to, pursue the yoga and pursue being a coach was this realization that I am an educator. I'm an educator at heart. It is who I am. And when I left teaching, that was a really big blow for me. And it was really kind of an ego hit and an ego death of, well, who am I now if I'm not going to be a teacher? And stepping into the path of being a coach was very much me saying, I am a teacher, like you said, on my own terms, and I'm going to share with the world my gifts the way that I share them best. And I don't fit into anyone's box. And this is the way that I can do that.
Yeah. That's not an easy transition though. And I want to dig into that a little bit, because when you take a certain path, like being a school teacher, like there will always be school teachers. They will always get paid a certain amount. They'll have healthcare. Like that's a very comfortable and, on the straight and narrow type of job. So when you step off of that path and you decide, I'm going to live life on my own terms, you mentioned having to question your identity of like, well, who am I if I'm not in this role? But another thing related to this question that I hear a lot is, but who am I to do it differently? Right? When you start your own business, or you say you're going to be a coach, or you become a yoga teacher, it's that imposter syndrome that can come up of like, I used to be a teacher. Who am I now? Am I good enough to do this next thing? Did you experience that yourself?
Absolutely. And still do, it's that inevitable, imposter syndrome. You hear people talk about it, people Instagram about it, and you're kind of like, oh, haha, imposter syndrome. And then you start on a new path, you kind of start trailblazing your own way, and there it creeps in, and you're kind of like, oh, that's what everyone's been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like I'm waking up every day and pretending that I can do this, but deep down inside, I'm like, no, I'm a fraud. Like, I'm tricking everyone into thinking that I'm a coach, or I'm a this or that. Yeah,
totally.
It's
and
tough.
I love that you said, and you still have it, because I don't think it ever goes away, right? Like Elton John has stage fright. Oprah is still insecure about her weight. It's like, I've been doing this for 4 years, and sometimes I'm still like, oh, what if they find out I don't have it all figured out? Or what if they find out like I have multiple, whatever thing they might find out, right? Because as you grow in your journey, like the spotlight gets bigger, the pressure changes. And it's not that you get out of imposter syndrome, but I feel you just get better at dealing with it, at recognizing it. And I know you have a method, right? Like you've kind of broken this down. So talk to us how you encourage or teach people to work with this imposter syndrome idea.
Yeah, I think it's important to highlight that it never goes away. And if it does, that you need to question if you're growing and challenging yourself appropriately. I think it's a good little clue that if you're feeling that imposter syndrome creep back in, that means you're continuing forward on your path and you're still growing, which I think everyone in this space and anyone that's listening to this podcast is here because they're growing and pushing and trying to give back to the world. So
yeah,
because of that, it's important to have something in your back pocket to address it when it shows up.
Yeah.
So I love, this is the teacher in me.
Lesson plan.
Here we go. Here's our system. Yeah. And so I've developed a method that I use and I teach to help with this imposter syndrome. And it's simply called the ROC Solid method. So ROC being the 3 important letters. And it all starts with that R, and that R is getting rooted. It's getting rooted in your big why. Why did you choose to begin on this path? Why are you here? What are you giving to the world? That, really digging deep and getting clear as to why you've chosen to do what you do. And like, okay, so using me as an example, right? I am a coach. I'm helping people defeat anxiety. Why? Why do I do that? Because I defeated anxiety, and because I know the pain that it is to be in that struggle. And I feel really passionately that no one should have to struggle for as long as I did, or go, as deep as I did into that pain. No one should have to do that. So my why is coming from a place of experiencing that rock bottom and wanting to make sure that no one else has to go there.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm rooted in.
I love that. I saw something online this week that said, no one can do it like you do it. And that really spoke to this idea, because sometimes people are like, why? Well, there's so many business coaches. There's so many, there's this, there's that, there's the other thing. But it's like your individual gifts are there. Your experiences happened all for a reason. It's culminating to make you like some unique offering to the world. In my belief, I believe there's enough bakers, firefighters, everyone is here with like their own dream, and it looks different. There's not anyone with the same exact vision board, right? The dog and the color house I want is going to be different than Anna's dream cat and her dream cabin, right? Like, even if we're both coaches. And so I think really getting clear on your specific why, not why other people are doing it, not why it makes sense, not why this is but like really teasing out the reason why your gifts and your experiences are exactly the way they are. Love it.
Yeah, and that's so true for the clients, right? They're looking for something really specific. If they're going to invest in a coach, they want to have that connection. And, so maybe there's just two people out there, helping people do what you do because the rest of them said, well, there's already two people doing it. But the reality is those two people aren't going to resonate with everyone. So absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to just put you on the spot for a second because I think our story is really resonant to this. We'll get back to the imposter syndrome thing, but I do want to share how Anna and I got connected. So it's just so good. Thank you, universe. I'll say. So my now husband, Mac, and I were then engaged. Maybe not even engaged. Anyway, we were traveling the world. Okay. We were traveling the world in our backpacks.
Just pre-engagement.
Pre-engaged, young, wild, and free. And we were in this small lake town, Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. If you're into yoga, you might have heard of it. Otherwise, I don't know. And it was a Sunday, and I wanted to find the Green Bay Packers. How much more random can we? Okay, no one else does a Sunday like I do it, right? This quote, no one else does it like I do it. So I'm in Lake Atitlan, Guatemala, Yoga Central, looking for the Green Bay Packers NFL. Go to this bar, like it's kind of looking good. And then I notice there's this other group also like asking about football. And I'm like, oh, hey. And this girl turns around with a Green Bay Packer t-shirt on. Happens to be Anna from the Midwest here for a yoga teacher training. And obviously, the stars aligned. We became friends. We spent time in Guatemala. But then it wasn't until like a year later that she was like, hey, I really want to get my yoga and coaching business going. I love what Dream Life is Real Life is all about. Like, how might you be able to help me? Like, that is the why, right? Like me showing up, Anna showing up in our perfect pursuits of joy and happiness, we happen to intersect. And I'm not like saying that this is your best marketing strategy, right? To just go out and do you and try to network at bars. But I am saying that when you do you, when you are rooted in your why and you live life on your terms, these are the types of experiences that happen. So back to imposter syndrome, but come on, we had to share that, right?
We've got a good story. All
right. So let's go from there, right? So like Anna, you knew your why, like you had done all this studying with yoga. You were in a place that's like, it is my time to step into my power. So what happened next to keep you on this path and maybe fighting down any other fears or imposter syndrome that came up?
Yeah, I went and lived on that mountain for 3 months and said, I'm doing this, and hiked down the mountain every Sunday with my Green Bay Packers shirt on and met you. But what I found, okay, I'm rooted in my why. I'm going on my journey. I'm quitting my job. I'm going to Guatemala for 3 months. I'm going to get myself straight and get rooted in what I'm doing. And the thing that happened next for me were the yeah buts. So the objections, right? And this is the O in the ROC. If the objections creep up as soon as you're like, I got this, I'm going for it, I've got my why, all of a sudden you've got, yeah, but I don't have the fancy degree. Yeah, but what if I get the clients and I don't deliver what I promised? Or like the one we talked about is huge. Yeah, but there's a million other people out there doing this better than I ever could. So why even try? And they cycle those yeah buts, and they kind of they attempt to push you down and ask you to set down the work. So what I have developed and done to kind of combat this is, first, I always write them down. Get it out of your head, get it on paper, get it concrete. Make a little chart on your wall in your office, a Google Doc, whatever your system is. And anytime a yeah, but comes up, jot it down and then make a counter to it. So yeah, but I don't have a fancy degree. No, I don't have a fancy, degree that has to do with anxiety. what I do have is over 10 years of experience with anxiety, knowing what it's like. And because I have personal experience with the struggle, I have a dozen plus different ways to come at it versus one narrow degrees, specialty. So maybe that's actually a strength, not a weakness. What's another one? Yeah, but what if I don't help a client defeat their anxiety? That was a huge one for me, right? What if I book that client and they don't get better? They don't defeat their anxiety. And Hanna, this was one you actually helped me get through and create that counter on, which is it's actually their job to defeat their anxiety. And I know, and I'm rooted because I've done that work in that I have the tools, I can give the support, I have the resources, and they also have to show up and do that work. I'm not defeating the anxiety for them. They're doing that for themselves with my support.
Right.
And that was huge for me. That was a breakthrough.
Yeah. And this is true of any coach, right? Like in a coaching relationship, whether you're coaching the Green Bay Packers or you're coaching someone to learn how to swim or you're coaching someone to defeat anxiety, you can only show up for your half of that relationship. So, if you're a quarterback coach, you got to show up for 100% of your 50%. But the time comes when that kid has to go out and throw the pass themselves. And the same is true with any coaching client you have. And we've talked so much about this, Anna. It's like, are you showing up for 100% of your end of the relationship? Because that's all you can do. Like personal trainers, they're there for that hour, but if their clients go and binge on Netflix, ice cream, and Cheetos, then they're probably not going to get the results. And so does that personal trainer feel like they're a mess up or they didn't do enough? No, they showed up for their personal training, that agreement, that 100%. So I love that. And then finding what is true for you and handling your own objections. So good.
Yeah,
so good.
Flip it. Yeah.
All right, get us to the C. What comes next?
That C is really maybe the most important one. And it's just consistency, right? You got to grind it out every day. Whether the imposter syndrome is raging or it's just whispering, you have to show up every day with the same vigor and excitement and really push forward. There's a lot of unsexy days as an entrepreneur where you have to sit down and you have to do the behind the scenes and you have to really grind it out. And you have to show up 110% on those days, just as much on the days when you have the client calls and you're booking the clients, the exciting, juicy stuff. It's the consistency, really waking up every day and saying, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and I'm going to do what it takes today to move one step forward.
Yeah. I mean, if we go back to the personal training thing, it's you can't work out for a day or a week and say, cool, I'm fit. It's to really master this and deal with the challenges that keep coming up, like the next meal or the next week of workouts. The same thing is true in business. It's you got to show up, put in the reps, and watch yourself get stronger. Right. And I love that you're ending on this C, the consistency piece, because you can measure that. You can measure, are you consistently showing up to the work and getting better at it? I was just telling Mac a few years ago, we would literally throw pity parties. I would have a hard time or sales weren't working or the webs, shit's always going wrong in entrepreneurship. So he'd be all right, wine and cheese, let's do it. Let's just sit in this, it's Friday, whatever. And honestly, the pity party would get to something. I'd be it's fine, a couple of glasses of wine in, the world is whatever, and we'd work through it. But now, we don't need a night of pity party. It's a couple of minutes of oh my gosh, a ridiculous person on Instagram called me this name, or this person's not ready for my program. And it's watching how quickly you can rebound from the imposter syndrome or from the rejection or from the frustration. Those are the other places you get to measure this. Do it consistently, check yourself before you wreck yourself, but then also watch how the response shortens, right?
Yeah, I think instead of the yeah buts, it's the now what's.
Ooh! Put that on Pinterest and save it for later.
Right? Yeah, but it's true. It's okay, they said no, now what? Well, I go out and continue to look for the next one. And I remember I was like having a hard go. I was having my pity party. I reached out to you. I'm like, I'm totally wine and cheesing over here. And you were like, you know what? Mac and I celebrated every no. And I was like, yeah, that's juicy. I like that because it means you're in action. You're showing up consistently. You're getting on the calls. You're doing the work. And eventually that person, I'm a huge believer in universal energy. And if you make the space for it, it will come in. You've got to just keep every day. You got to keep showing up and letting the universe know, I want this. I'm going for this. I'm not going to stop. And eventually the energy you put out will come back to you.
I love it. And if you've heard this before and you're like, yeah, girls, like good for you. These things are cliche for a reason, right? They're cliche because they're true. And you can choose to believe whatever truth you want. But wouldn't it be more fun to believe that celebrating your no's and showing up day in and day out and focusing on the feelings you want to feel, like that's just a better belief to me to try on than the doubt and the fear. It happens, right? That's what Anna's saying. When you feel the doubt and fear, just choose better thoughts. Handle your own objections. Get rooted and keep doing those reps. So break it down for us one more time. Just quick summary of how we overcome imposter syndrome.
3 easy steps. It's your ROC Solid method. R, you're going to get rooted in your why. Why are you doing this? Why is this important to you? O, handle your objections. Write them down, put them somewhere concrete, and then counter them with the flip, the positive, the yeah, but what if? Consistency. You got to show up to do the work, the sexy work and the unsexy work, the hard days and the celebratory days. Every day you have to show up excited about where you're going and willing to put in the grind to get there.
So good. Spoken like a heartfelt, on purpose teacher and leader. I love seeing you in this light. That is such massive value you just shared. And I so appreciate that. And I'm sure others would love to get to know you more and continue this conversation. Or maybe they're just Packers fans and want to meet up. No. So where can people connect with you and learn more about what you do?
Yeah, so I'm in a couple different places. I am on Facebook, and I have a Facebook group there where I'm offering a lot of great tools and resources. I am on Instagram at Mahan Tara, and I am also on LinkedIn.
What's the name of your Facebook group? I think that is a really great resource for folks to go to.
Yeah, Defeat Anxiety Now. So if you really search that on any of the platforms, I should pop up.
Defeat Anxiety Now. It's also great. Just like tell the universe what you want. Type that in. Defeat anxiety now, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah. Anna, thank you so much. And just a quick note, as Anna has been sharing, we did work together. And if you are interested in taking your business, your coach, your impact to the next level and reaching more folks with your online marketing and business strategies, feel free to also visit dreamlifeisreallife.com/show and take a step to schedule some time with our team to see if we can help you make your dream life your real life and business. All right, friends, I'll be back next week with another inspiring guest that will help you make your dream life your real life. All right, and that's a wrap for our Dream Life is Real Life show today. Thank you for hanging out with me, Hanna Hermanson, and our inspiring community here. Be sure to visit dreamlifeisreallife.com/show to get all of the resources and more that we talked about today so that you can keep building, scaling, and enjoying your dream life and business. Until next time.